Okay, so tonight we're going to do a few things. First and foremost, just to kind of clarify what's going on here. So, this is an old track of mine that we're working on tonight. The song is called One Dance. I wrote it ballpark a year ago, give or take. But I've been working a lot on improving my production techniques and things like that since then. I decided that I'm going to kind of go back through my old songs in the order that they were written and get them ready for mastering, send them out to my mastering engineer, and then probably release them. Some of them can't be released, some of them can. This is actually in the category of tracks that can't be released because it uses a covered vocal. So if I want to release this one, I have to probably get someone to re-sing it, or maybe I need to get permission from the original label that released this cover. So it's a little bit complicated. But the point of this isn't really about whether or not I can finish a song or release a song. The point of this is to go through the different steps that are required to get a track ready for release, which is effectively trying to get something to the point where it's a -6 decibel peaking pre-master, everything nicely balanced, not overly muddy, bass sitting in the right areas, drums sitting nicely, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so that when my mastering engineer gets on it, they're not fighting my track, they're just boosting it like crazy and making it sound as good as they can. So that's pretty much the goal here. Now, this is an old track, which means it's got a lot of deficiencies. So we're going to be fixing things as we go and making improvements. And I'm going to try to explain what I'm doing every single step of the way, because the goal here is, sure, I'm going to stream this on Twitch and, no one's going to watch it, right? This is a channel which has no followers at this point. So it's unlikely anyone's even going to tune in while I'm doing it, but it'll be here for posterity. And what I'm hoping to do is I'm recording video and streaming at the same time. So what I'm hoping to do is to make a few 5 or 10 minute long YouTube videos per section. So if I start talking about things, or if it sounds like I'm reintroducing what's going on, my apologies. But eventually this is going to get cut up into manageable pieces. So first things first, let's just take a quick listen to sort of whet our appetite for the song. This is coming out of, I believe, the first breakdown, and this is kind of how it drops, just to get, like an idea of what the song's going to sound like. So here it is. I can show you everything. This is not going to make it into any of the YouTube shorts, but for the longer version on Twitch, just real quickly, this is the sound that I've been working on for a while now. So it's a combination of live guitar sounding sounds, something like this. Okay. Mixed in with just a pure 303 kind of a sound with lots of distortion and effects, etc. So here's that 303. And of course it's automated and all kinds of interesting stuff's going on, so it sounds completely different in different parts. Like here's a later version of it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, bottom line, that's what we're doing. So I do things differently now from when I wrote this track. And one of the things that I do differently is I care a lot about the groove of the song. So we're going to do a little bit of work specifically on the groove of the track. and try to get it all in lines. So here is, just for comparison purposes, what the song sounds like as it stands currently, right? So you just heard it. And I've been using, because I like the way it sounds, so usually I decide on the groove of the song based on the 303 in my track. So I like the way this 303 sounds. It's nice and, it's got a nice swing to it. And so that shuffle is at plus 25 in the roll and shuffle design. So just real quickly, I'm going to show what this sounds like at different shuffles, just for fun, but we'll go back to plus 25 because I settled on that a year ago when I decided I liked this way. So here it is at plus 25. Here it is at, let's say, plus 75. Here it is all the way up. Which, I mean, that has uses, to be fair. It sounds a little odd, but it does have uses. Here it is at minus 25, which is actually a setting that I use very frequently in other songs. Not this song, but other songs I'll have the shuffle go into the negative. So here's what it would sound like if it was negative. So listen to how that's a little bit different from this. And again, the minus version. Notice how the 25 kind of has a little bit more of a chill vibe to it, right? Let's compare one last time. If I can ever get there. There we go. So anyway, let's try again. I don't know, like minus 60 or something. And then all the way. And that last one, hilariously, I mean, I could write a track around that. I probably wouldn't, because it would be very weird, but you could. So anyway, here's a shuffle of the track one last time with the 303 on its own. I like it. It's nice and swingy, nothing crazy, but it's got a nice vibe to it. So here's what we're going to do. I want everything in my track to have the same groove that we just defined, okay? And so the easiest way to do that is actually with another roller drum machine. So let's just, for example, the 707 that we're using. So this is the beat that's in the track that we're currently working on. And what I'm going to do, excuse me, and what I'm going to do, because I want to capture this groove, is I'm going to make just a hi-hat pattern using the same accent notes as the 707 and record that into its own audio channel, and then I'm going to use that to put that groove on every single instrument in the entire track. So let me show you how that's done. First of all, just real quickly, because it's another Roland gear, all of my Roland stuff is at plus 25, the same plus 25 that the 303 was at. So now what we're going to do, I'm just going to duplicate this channel. This duplicated channel will never be heard in the song. Okay, in fact, I'm going to turn it off already now just so I don't screw up and forget. And what I'm going to do is I'm quite literally going to put it on just the first channel. We're going to delete all of these extra notes. So this is kicks and snares and claps and stuff. That's all going to go. And we're just going to quickly make a all closed hi-hat pattern. So this is what the plus 25 groove sounds like. And actually, while I'm at it, just real quickly, I'll show you what the minus 25 sounds like. All right, so that's minus 25. This is plus 25. Very, very similar. Here's a swingier sound. Here's an outrageously swingy sound. All right. the in-between notes are basically landing on top of the main 16ths, or sorry, the main eighth notes. Here it is, opposite end. Right, so compared to this, and then super negative, where it's basically just lining up perfectly, right? Okay, so anyway, let's get this back to 25. Okay, and what we're going to do is I'm going to make an audio channel. Okay, and what we're going to do is I'm going to make an audio channel down here. And in that audio channel, I'm just going to grab the second TR-707. So this is the one that I just made. And we're going to record right at the beginning of the track, just a few bars of this to make sure we lock in the groove properly. And let's make sure it's sounding properly. So here we go. So all I'm doing here is I used the TR-707. I changed the input to the TR-707 that I just created a second ago, duplicated. I'm now arming this channel by hitting this button here for record, and then I'm going to record audio by hitting this button. So here we go. All right, let's make sure we did the recording. We can see it in here. It doesn't need to be super loud. The groove will figure it out just fine. And then all we have to do, because we're in Ableton, this is a fantastic program, is we're just going to real quickly drag the recording into the groove list. And that's going to allow us to take this groove and apply it kind of everywhere in the track. Now, you don't have to do this, but I always turn quantize up to 100%. What's that's doing, oh, and I should rename this, so we'll call this Roland plus 25, okay? Which is exactly what we were using. So I need to disarm this track, which I've already done, and make sure that the TR-707 is not playing when we go back to playing the track. So both of these channels, I mean, honestly, I should probably just delete them, but I want to leave them there. So, like, normally, if I was not recording this, I would just delete them. But I don't want to do that because I want everyone watching this video later to see where they came from, etc. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to assign the Roland plus 25 to every single MIDI channel that we've got. So here I am putting it on my kicks. What's going on here? All right, I need to be a little careful here. I'm not entirely sure what I was doing. So pardon the slightly disorganized track. It is a bit of an old one. And I have to admit, I've improved my workflow pretty tremendously since when I made this song. But anyway, so we're putting the Roland groove everywhere. And obviously that's not, you know, super quick. I actually kind of wish there was a faster way to do this. In the YouTube video, I'm certainly just going to say, hey, it's been done. So let's see, G1. So I should be able... Okay. So anyway, moving on to, I have this tendency to leave things named kick 2, but that's actually not a kick, that's a snare. So I'm going to go ahead and rename that channel here in just a second, because it's going to annoy me. All right, so now we have some hi-hats. And again, this is an older track. So let's see what's going on here. Are these the same notes? C4. No, they're not. Okay. So we need to be a little careful here. When your color coding is terrible. Okay. All right, so this looks like it took a long time, but again, this is still pretty quick in the grand scheme of things. And the payoff is that everything will be on the same groove. So once we're done here, the track will actually line up rather nicely. And it's going to start to develop some nice, more universal swing, which tends to actually be an improvement, albeit often somewhat subtle. All right. So there's no point in doing this with guitarist. Oh, okay. So these are all just effects. Go ahead and group them. And then the big one is to get the new lead synth on the same groove. All right, all done. It took longer than I would like it to, but it's useful. Let's hear how the track sounds now. Super duper subtle, no question about it. I think I'm going to try this. I don't know if this actually works. I think it does. So what I'm going to try to do is delete this swing and see how, if we can actually tell the difference in the track. Although, to be fair, this is not a super aggressive swing, so it might not be super duper noticeable, but I can show it a different way in a second. So let's see how this looks like. Yeah, I can hear it. It's subtle though, but I think I could show it also. So let's apply the groove. And what you could see, so notice, just by applying it, all of our kicks are ever so slightly delayed. They're a little bit off now, but they're going to match up with the actual drum machines. And maybe they're not the best thing to look at. Let's take a look at, for example, our bass line here, right? Let's find a part that actually does the thing. So here we go. So again, notice how this is like a little bit off. This is substantially less off. And so what we're getting here is like a nice swing throughout the entire track. And that's the point. That's the goal. Subtle, hard to hear, but everything now will be lined up almost robotically perfect, but on a very unrobotic groove. And that's the point. So, again, real simple stuff to do, but sounds clean, worth a couple minutes of your time if that's something that you want to do to your track. Okay. So next up, now that we've applied a universal groove, delete this, useless. Now that we've applied a universal groove to our track, the next thing on my list of things to do would be to start thinking about what needs to sit where in the mix. So first things first, we got this bass line. And, oh, oops. That shouldn't have been done already. So hold on, let's hear what the bass line was supposed to sound like originally. So what I'm doing here, and I should explain because it could be a little bit complicated. So first of all, this is not in any way like the quote unquote right way to do a mix. This is just the way that I like to do mixes because people complain, particularly my mastering engineer complains to me about having too much mud in my songs. And so I realized, hey, here's a way to get rid of some of that mud and to kind of clean things up a little bit. And so what I do is I use these super duper smooth, not at all aggressive, high pass, low pass filters that are just 60 dB per octave that FabFilter Pro Q3 allows you to do. And I just put them on things like my bass line. And so you can hear it here. Here it is without. Now, I want to be super clear. In a vacuum, bass line sounds better if you don't do this. But if you want to hear everything nice and clearly in the mix, it actually kind of helps to do this. But again, one thing I've said, and I will continue to always say, there is no right way to produce music. There's just ways to produce music, and people do different things. And I happen to like this methodology, but it might not be the best for you. So keep that in mind. Anyway, here's my bass. And what we're going to do now is we're going to isolate each of the individual elements of the track that have like their own requirement for space. So of course, bass requires low end. So we'll leave that one alone. Let's see what we got here. This is another set of instruments. I'm skipping drums for now. So those are kind of like high-end, high-frequency pads. We've got the 303, of course.
Dance with you is.
I think I want the 303 sitting beneath the pads. Here's more drums. We're going to skip those for now. Here's guitar. Okay. All right, so what I'm thinking right now is I'm going to put the guitar above the bass. I'm going to put the 303 above the guitar, and I'm going to put the pads above that. I'm going to leave my synth wide open, at least for now. We'll see what it needs later. But for now, we're going to leave it wide open. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start with the guitar. So one thing to say, this was earlier, and as I said, I've improved a lot since I've done this. So I'm going to get rid of this EQ entirely, and I'm just going to make a new one. It was kind of trying to tackle the same things, but I'm going to do it a little more methodically now. So what we're going to do, again, set the low pass filter to 200. I want you to imagine we have a 200 high pass on the bass, we have a 200 low pass on the guitar. So the goal here is they're overlapping, but they're not super duper overlapping. And what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how much of the guitar we actually need to let through. So let's just listen to it. All right, so quick information on how frequencies work. So this is 200 hertz. 400 hertz would be 1 octave. 800 hertz is 2 octaves. So I'm giving basically 2 full octaves to this guitar, cutting out everything above, but smoothly, cutting out everything below, also smoothly. And so we're going to go ahead and do that and leave that as it is. And then I'm going to say the 303 will sit above that. So we're going to take just this EQ and put it on the 303, which probably has an EQ on it as well already. Not the smartest one. Let's get rid of it. But we'll go ahead and put this over here in the same rough spot. I probably had a good idea of where the EQ should go. And we're going to start this at 800. Oops, sorry, actually I prefer to do this the other way. So let's give this one 2 full octaves as well, starting at 800. Okay, and see how that sounds. So again, important thing to understand here, frequency ranges double every octave. So remember 2 to 800 was just 2 octaves. So ironically, 800 to 1600 is 1 octave. 1600 to 3200 is 2 octaves. So while the range of frequencies are a lot higher on the amount that I'm letting through, I mean, if you do the math, it's 2400 hertz that I'm letting through with this EQ. It's still just 2 octaves, okay? So don't let this confuse you when you're looking at these things. So finally, we're going to go ahead and do the group of the high pass, the pads, and we're going to go ahead and put an EQ on these. And again, you know, I was trying to EQ these higher out, but once again, didn't really know what I was doing, or had some, let's say, dubious techniques back then. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and put this at 3200. So to quick recap, from 0 hertz to 200 is my bass. From 200 to 800 is my guitar, which is really not in most of the track. So for the majority of the track, we're going to have this massive gap from 200 all the way to 800 is going to just be kind of empty, and that's on purpose. It's room for the vocal, it's room for the drums. Then from 800 to 3200 is where the 303 will sit, and then from 3200 and above is where these pads will sit. So let's hear how the track sounds. It may feel a little empty. It's certainly going to be much more empty than it was before I started doing with this, but let's see how it goes from here. Oh, sorry.
I can show you every move. I know just what to do. When dancing, you'll be mine.
So I don't like how much bass is coming through on the guitar. I'm actually going to up this to even smaller amount, and I'm going to up the bass to give it more presence, and we'll see how that goes. So what I've done is I just made the guitar take up even less room because I felt like it was taking up too much bass, and we're putting more bass in, take up the space where the guitar is now vacating. Right, I don't hate it. We can always adjust this more later. Now let's listen to this Jupiter 8 lead synth that we've done. Okay, I'm thinking I'm going to even raise this up higher, which might mean we have some overlap across instruments. And we'll see how this sounds now. Let's give it a shot. Let me take a look at what all I'm doing here. Oh, yeah. Okay. So in the interest of not fixing mistakes, but rather sticking with what I've already got, I'm not going to get rid of the THU Slate effects plugin. Let's assume that that was right. So what we're pretending now here is a little bit like we got a bad sample rather than we made a mistake in production. That is actually a mistake in production. I don't want to go into it right now. So instead, I'm just going to make sure that I get rid of a little bit more of the low end and see how it sounds. So again, I just pulled this up to 800. So I'm going to move the bass even a little bit higher and see how that sounds. This might be too much. I may end up going back, but let's hear what it sounds. All right, I don't hate it. Let's see what we can do if we need to do anything with the vocal. So here's a vocal.
When wanna do is just dance with you, is just dance with you, is just dance with you. I can show you what to do, I know just what to do. I can show you every move. When dancing you'll be mine, 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 you'll be mine.
Oh, sorry, I just realized something I should explain. So the reason why I do my cutoffs at 200, 400, 800, 1600, etc., instead of sitting around painstakingly trying to figure out the exact cutoff that I need to do for everything, is because since those are all octaves, it's going to be pretty close to right. So I could spend half an hour figuring it out. Is it 200 or is it 185 hertz? Or I can just say 200 is going to be good enough, and let's not kill ourselves and our ears, and let's not lose forward momentum, which we really want to make sure we don't. So anyway, I feel like we've kind of done our job here in terms of getting the mix down a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier. And now I need to start working on levels. So we'll do that in just a second here. But let me just give it a little bit more of a listen.
I can show you everything. I know just what to do.
All right. So that all sounds pretty reasonable to me. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use my mastering prep chain. So real quickly, it's kind of annoying that it opens everything up. So let me explain what everything in here is, because it's not going to be obvious at all. So first of all, we have this plugin called ADPTR metric. And what I've done here is I've made a filter so that we can hear just the mid-range of the song. Okay, sorry. So it didn't load up with the correct settings, but basically what we got is from 245 hertz to 4,000 hertz. So this is really your mid-range of the song, okay? And I'm just now showing us, we have some things here, but basically this allows us to tell what's going on in the section of the song that our ears hear the best. Okay, so this is not sub, it's not what we feel. Sub's down here, right? Or even all the way down here, bass, etc. But I'm interested in the mids. And every once in a while I'm gonna go back and check and make sure the mids are easy to hear the different elements well in. So this is kind of recreating that NS10 vibe that people use. And you listen to that long enough, and it becomes just almost fantastic when you hear the whole song. So that's what that plugin does. We'll turn it off, but it should be on mid-range. Okay. Here we have a spectrum analyzer. This is just to make sure that we get an idea of how balanced our track is. So what we're looking for are pretty much high peaks here in the sub and bass areas, a bit of a dip, and a climb back up, gradual climb back up in the middle of the track. If you have a vocal, you'll probably see a bit of a spike in the mid-range here for the vocals. So, we just want to kind of get an idea. It's a visual representation, which is not the best way, but it's a good tool for people like me who don't have the best ears for this kind of stuff. So that's what that one's for. Then we have a compressor and a saturator. Now the saturator is the first one I'm going to touch with. And so what I've done here is I've driven it hard, plus 12 dB, and then I'm cutting the output by 12. The goal of that is just to hear if anything starts distorting when you clip it like crazy. Okay, so here we go. So to be honest, I hardly ever hear anything clip off the saturator, but it has happened. And then the final one is the compressor. And the compressor is for us to hear if anything is causing the track to compress. So keep it in mind. Before I do this, let me just show. So we want the track peaking, master peaking, excuse me, at minus 6 dB, okay? So right now we're at minus 7. That's actually not as high as we want to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on this compressor, and we're going to take a look and see if anything's on the graphical readout or if we hear anything causing the compressor to activate and clamp down on the entire track. But we're also going to be turning the compressor on and off and then raising the gain on this utility plugin here so that we are constantly peaking at minus 6 or thereabouts. This is not like, just to be clear, this isn't science, this is art, this is music, so it's not going to have to be exactly minus 6 decibels, right? But that's what we're targeting. It's a goal. You know, it's like throwing a dart at a dartboard. You want to get as close to the bullseye as possible. Sometimes you nail the bullseye, sometimes you don't. But this isn't darts in a tournament where missing the bullseye means you lose, okay? We're just trying to get as close as possible. So anyway, let's take a look at where we're at. So these spikes are my claps. Now I have to figure out where my claps are, but they are definitely claps. And so what we do when we have somebody that's spiking super heavily is we just go and turn it down. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll try minus probably 18, honestly. Let's see how that goes. So it probably wasn't that one. Let's see. So it's probably that one. Let's try pulling it back. Let's see what this sounds like now. Okay. So again, now we're going to take a look at this, but let's take a look first now at, turn off the compressor and see where we are in terms of peaking. Okay, so according to this, I need to add, so we're at -9. I'm going to add 3 dB, and let's see how we do. So to be clear, what I've just done is I've actually essentially compressed my track by close to 3 decibels with these changes. We just saw a spike come in from the vocal, but we'll address that in a second. But let's see how we're doing on the compressor now that I've turned it up by 3 dB on the main master. So now we got a new spike. That's our kick, almost certainly. So we'll try turning it down to about -22 dB. Let's see how we do. Okay, so again, we're just trying to level out these curves and get everything to kind of sit nicely together so that when we go back and drop a limiter on this, it does the minimum amount of work possible. It's worth noting, I've now gained another 2 dB. Okay. We have some kind of something making a weird sound. I don't know where it's coming from. It's really not there, not there. So reminder, this is an old track, and I'm going to be trying to figure out what's going on here.
What I really wanted
So I thought it might be the guitar, but I don't think so. Something is making a sound right here. Literally here. So that's just, I could probably show it in here. So what it was that I just did, this thing here probably has a clap. Okay, let's see. So nothing in the first loop, nothing, one in the second. And then I'm guessing we're probably hearing these come in, so these offbeat ones, and they were just super loud relative to what they should be. So I think we'll be fine now. Let's hear it. Wow, that is super spiky. Okay, let's see. What do we got that's causing that?
What to do.
All right.
What to do.
It's not those plugins. Let's see.
What to do. 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 What to do.
All right, this is straight up weird. We're gonna go ahead and fix it. But it's
what to do. What to do. What? Do when dancing you'll be mine. When dancing, when dancing, what to do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. When dancing, you'll be mine. What to do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. When dancing, you'll be mine. When dancing, you'll be mine. Wanna do is just dance with you. It's just dance with you. It's just dance with you. I can show you what to do. I know just what to do. I can show you. Wanna do is just dance with you. It's just dance with you. It's just dance with you. I can show you.
All right. So let's check the compressor again in a good meaty spot of the song. All right, let's listen to the mid-range again.
When dancing, what I really wanna do is just dance with you. It's just dance with you. It's just dance with you. I can show you what to do. I know just what to do.
All right, so mid-range pulled out just a little bit of notice that the guitar was a little bit too loud. So now when we turn this off, you know, it could be subtle, but it won't be that subtle. May have been too much. Let's try this. And now that we've cleared out so much space, we're getting a little too much of this lead synth, so we're just going to drop it down about 2 decibels and hear how that sounds. Again, listening to just the mid-range. Sounds pretty clean. Checking the saturator for distortion. We never hear anything there really, but sometimes it can happen. Take a look at the visual spectrum of the track. All right, so the whole point of this now is we should be able to now hit it off of a nice limiter, good quality limiter, and get it up to like -8, decibels pretty easily without having a lot of clipping here. So let's take a look at where we're at. Let me make my settings correctly. So it's 50%. All right, so here's a track with nothing. And I'm going to pump it up. Still seeing some pretty big spikes here, so I may still need to go back and take a look at these snares. And let's just do a quick test to see where we're at.
Just dance with you. I can show you what to do. I know just what to do. I can show you every move. When dancing, you'll be mine. 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 You'll be
So, mostly we're good. I'm going to turn down these just real quickly so we can hear them. Oh, I need to turn the limiter back off again. So we're going to turn these down just a little bit. I don't think we need them to be that loud. All right, and so I think that we're probably pretty close to a good stopping point for this evening. So just a quick recap of what all we did. We started out with putting a universal groove by capturing the groove off the 707. Then we applied it to all the different MIDI channels so that they would all sort of have the same matching groove, which, for sure we wanted to do. And we just did that by taking the recorded groove that we made and then applying it to each of the MIDI channels or other things where that would make sense. You could do it to drum loops, etc. Then we created EQ pockets for each of the different instrument groups. If I remember correctly, there were 4. So we did bass lines on the bottom. Then we put the guitar just above the bass lines, the 303 above that, and then the pads and kind of chords group at the top of upper end of the spectrum. And then finally, we pulled out our mastering chain, which allowed us to listen to the mid-range, to listen to the track under heavy compression, just to see how it puts up with heavy compression and make sure that nothing's causing the compressor to really, really clamp down too hard. Listen for distortion on a heavy clipper and didn't hear any, so we didn't have to do anything there. Then finally did a little bit of iterative work, going back and forth with the compressor, trying to turn things down. And this track is, kind of old for me. So it's got way too many drum loops, way too many snares, way too many things going on. And so I may have to do some really boring work of trying to find where the different spikes are coming from and eliminating them. That's not great video content. But rest assured, it needs to be done, and I need to kind of be careful and figure out, if there are any aberrant sounds, like, for example, the spikes that we were hearing on the vocals, and see if there's anything I could do to kind of tone them down. Reminded that's what this sounds like. Yeah, it's that the duh sound in the do that's causing, pretty heavy duty spikes. So I may go in and tame that off camera. But bottom line, we got all this done, and then what we saw is when we were fully completed, we could do 9 dB of gain with only a tiny little bit of reduction on some spikes in here. And let's just take a look at what this looks like again. So. All right, well, anyway, this is a good stopping point. I've done something that kills all my audio. I'm not entirely sure what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here, figure out what that is off camera, and then come back just for a second to do a quick recording of the full song so we can hear it on stream and have a nice recording of it for YouTube later. And then that'll be it for tonight. So if you're seeing this later on, thanks for checking it out. Thanks for listening in. And this has been DJ 0045, working on one dance, getting it ready to be sent off to mastering here in the next few days. Have a good night.